Assalamu alaikum. Hello. This is Atlantic TV. This is Vantage World with Abdoulie Bojang. This is the show that brings you the very best suiting analysis of your wealth, money, business, trade, and investment. On this show, we will discuss the step-by-step approach to amassing wealth with expert discussions and opinions, of course, laced with real-life industry expert experience. This show will be coming your way every Monday, 3 p.m. On this show, we are happy to welcome one of the Gambia's finest data scientists and mathematician, Touba. Welcome, Touba.
Thank you, Mr. Bojang. It's great being with you here today. I'm happy to be here to talk about Vantage World, to talk about the formal sectors of the economy and also the informal sectors of the economy. And to strengthen that discussion, it is important to look at what the Gambia Bureau of Statistics told us when it comes to numbers. It is, you know, it's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong talking about what you think, your logic and reasoning, but it is even more appropriate when you look at what the numbers tell you. That way you can base your reasoning and your discussion on the numbers by percentage. So before we get started, Mr. Bojang, my name is Touba, K-S-S-A-D-A-A-O-P-H-S, married. For those who actually know me, the abbreviations are Touba Kramo Sheikh Sharif Al-Haji Dr. Abubakar Al-Hassan Omar Professor Honorable Special Married. But of course, Mr.
That is a degree of its own. I have to specialize to know this.
Indeed, but you can just address me as Touba. That will do for today.
Thank you. As you have rightly mentioned, we will be looking at the formal economy and the informal economy and what numbers actually tell us or reveal to us. It will be sacrosanct that we delve into these matters and then try to empower this show or hang this show on real data. And we think there are many people who can do it, but you are going to be one of the finest, or you are one of the finest in this. And you've crunched these numbers, and the audience, the viewership wants to know what really they can understand from these numbers.
Thank you, Mr. Bojang. Well, let's look at what happened in 2023. Well, 2023, we are in 2025. It's not 2 years margin. We just left 2024. So the labor market situation in the Gambia by the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, you can see what has been happening in our economy in terms of, today we'll first take a look at the profile of the working age population. And, you know, let's look at the first, that it says here that 62% of working age population live in urban areas. So that tells you most economic generation in terms of implementation. I know like farming activities and so many other activities possibly might take place more in the rural areas, but larger percentage of people who work are based in the urban setting, from Brikama, to the KMCs and other areas. That's what it is telling you. But more importantly, take a look at this.
But I think that is the problem in itself. We have Gambia as a country.
Yeah.
And we think, even though income generation, economic activity, is highly within the urban, and that is not only the case of Gambia, it is also the case of some other countries. But we think it's high time the government looked at how they go around investing in these areas, because it is going to be more impactful as well. And it can have a multiplier effect, as in, before people coming to make combo congested or urban areas, if some of these things are created, especially now there is technology, we are in the digital age. I think these numbers are telling us that we are even less than a quarter of our economic potential as far as the country is concerned. Because if this is replicated somewhere in the rural area, it's something else.
Indeed, but I mean, that's what development specialists will tell you, decentralization of development projects. So if we had 60% of the world population, like certain ministries, especially, maybe we have a bigger percentage of our sea and river in this area, but let's say agriculture, things like agriculture, the ministries should be in rural areas to work in the area of agriculture. But well, maybe that will be a bigger discussion on another day, but for today we just take a look at the look at working age population by the local government administrative or local government areas, become, of course, West Coast has always been the biggest. 46% is huge. Let's go, the reverse side is going to be Banjul. That's our capital city, is just 1%. And how many offices are in Banjul? Almost all ministries are in Banjul. And
whatever you want to do that matters, you must visit Banjul. So yet what they give us is 1%.
It's just 1%. Take a look at this graph right next to you. I'm fascinated by certain numbers here. Look at it, says no schooling, working age population by educational treatment. We're talking about education being a very important area when it comes to our economy, a very important area when it comes to investment, a very important area when it comes to, research and technology. But you can see a higher percentage by, working age by population, no schooling, is 37%. I don't know how people see this, but if we have a country, this is just a span of a year. It's just, last year, I'll call 2023 last year because we are barely in 2025. Sure. You have 37% of our working age population that do not actually...
formal education.
No formal education. I
want to say that, no formal education. Some of these people went to madrasas.
Indeed, without a doubt.
And funnily, they are the shakers and movers of the economy.
They are.
That probably is one of the reasons why we have this type of economy, because according to research, it's like there is some correlation with the level of education and actually the economic activity and wealth, whatever.
Yes, so you talk about the formal education, but there are portions about the vocational diploma. So I would say maybe it excluded people who went to the madrasas and then who also attained another education, maybe in the Arabic area. But you can look at vocational, people always try to, we're talking about encouraging investment and telling people, well, if you can get your diplomas and higher degrees in the bachelor's or the master's and then the higher education, tertiary institutions, at least go and learn a trade, go for the vocational training and skill centers. But it's just 1%. That tells you, you have a lot of people in the service industries. You can see all around. You can see all around when you go to the mechanic garages and all that. You have a lot of people in the service industry, but it's just 1% who actually have the skill requirement, who actually, maybe let me say, who have been certified to do that job.
Absolutely, formally recognized as capable and competent.
Indeed. And something also struck my mind, and is the share of the population outside the labor force by sex. Well, Gambia is largely female, but when you look at our labor population, let's say we have only 56% of that, and then a higher chunk of that is with our female population, and
against the 52 of male.
Yeah, against the 52 for the male time. And I want to point your mind to this particular area. If you read this, it says, as typically observed, women are less active, often due to their family responsibilities, and they actually make a higher percentage when it comes to share of the population outside the labor force by sex. And if they are saying here that they are typically, as typically observed, they are less active due to their family responsibility. I've not seen numbers here. This is actually a statement. It would have been much backed up by numbers when we see maybe you have family responsibilities. A large chunk of the women from home go to market and all that. Pregnancy comes in there once a while and all that. But all these are part of it.
So in summary, what data reveals here is a lot of these women could have been more active, taking more in-depth responsibility as far as the economic activities are concerned. But they are elbowed out of that because of their family responsibilities. Indeed.
And,
but we saw something like, what percentage have only one source of income in the Gambia? As far as wealth generation is concerned, one source of income is an issue, huh?
Yeah, indeed.
Somewhere.
We'll get there. We'll get there in terms of, how many jobs you have or source of income. When we get there, we can talk more about that. Right. I want to point you, so the next portion on page 2 is the participation in the labor market. When we talk about participation in the labor market, they are talking about either, you are either working or looking for a job. So, all those are a part of it. And if you look at the representation here, you could see that men who are working or looking for a job are about 48%. And then women who are working I'm sure that these images are telling me this is for a man and this is for a female. So that's 40%. Absolutely. But look at the other statistics on the first page. That tells you we have more women in our labor force than we have men. And then look at the graph here. This graph here, labor force participation rate by sex and age. You have male, they are actually above. So which means even though we have a larger chunk of our economy or the economic activities, the labor force participation is more of female than male, but they are now telling you labor force participation rate, that's the percentage of it. Men have a higher percentage than that of female, but by numbers the females are more.
Yeah, I think the previous what we saw was
yes,
those that are outside of the labor force.
Yes.
Women are more.
More indeed.
We don't have more women. And one of the reasoning is
exactly
family responsibility.
Family responsibility is what is striking them apart.
So you realize that those that probably are looking for job or employment are more male, are more of male. But that does not mean that you don't have more female.
Definitely.
It's because of maybe the barrier and so on. If they say that barrier is lifted or is minimized, you would have more numbers hike as far as the female segment or
cultural reasons, societal setup, all those things.
They have a lot of barriers to surmount.
Yes, definitely, they have a lot of barriers. And then, quickly we can also go take a look at this labor force participation rate by educational attainment. We were talking about education, so you can see this percentage. Obviously, people looking for job or are employed. Remember, the rest of the people are not part of it. So you can see that those who actually have a diploma, labor force participation rate by educational attainment, those who have a diploma already, you can imagine the thousands of people who will graduate from the University of the Gambia and other universities that are within the country. So that tells you that there are a lot of people who are applying for jobs, whether they are employed or not, because they are saying that those who are and those who are looking for it. If you apply, even beyond the interview stage.
Let's make this clear. You've made it clear.
Yes.
Participation, labor force participation rate by educational attainment. And this means those that are applying,
yes,
looking for job, including also those that
already have the job.
This number does not necessarily mean that all these 59 is employed.
Definitely
but it's a combination of those that are seeking and those that already
exactly. Yeah. So you can look at those with diplomas. Those that already have a diploma. I would take that diploma to be a high school diploma, because no, not a high school diploma. This would be tertiary actually. Really? Because you're having lower and upper secondary, primary. So vocational. And then you have diploma. So this obviously would be, let's say, college. You understand? Yeah. Advanced diploma, HND, second Cs, and so on. That's my assumption, because you have the upper secondary, would that include the high school?
The high school, obviously.
Okay, I mean, I would
then you have vocational, then you have diploma. Then this obviously diploma and higher are on the tertiary.
Yeah, they are all on the tertiary institution.
It would actually mean, let's say, those that have a HNC, a HND, a diploma, an advanced diploma, let's say MDI, Gambia College, and so on. Yes. So higher would actually mean university, at least a BSc.
University,
first degree,
yes. It could have been a little bit clearer when you put in which ones are the high schools and those that are the actual diplomas, and then I thought the higher.
But if you look at it, you should see no schooling, and you have primary education.
Primary education.
Lower secondary. Okay. From primary secondary, you go to lower.
Yes.
That is of course grade 7. To 9,
yes.
Then upper, of course, you move on 10 to 12, and you vocational and skills or trade. Then you have diploma. So this actually suggests that diploma here would actually refer to college or other institutions that are awarding non-degree.
Non-degree.
These are non-degree awarding institutions. Then the higher we would assume here to be the degree awarding institutions or qualifications. Degree level.
Look at this astonishing or striking number, 43%. It said no schooling. So all these took part in.
But I can tell you, I want to disagree.
Yeah.
No schooling.
Yes.
No, there is schooling. Maybe that category was not included.
Okay, included in
here. Everybody goes to madrasa or dara or so. It's school. We may not formalize it, but it's school. But I understand from your previous explanation, maybe we are saying, okay, no schooling as in no formal.
No formal schooling.
But I am very, very impressed. You see, do you know those that have money in this country are those that are not educated? My Serere man in his spare part shop and so on. These are the people that are having money.
They have money.
So what they went to, you ask them about Quran, they will tell you.
Yes, I mean, well, if you see the percentage is as high as it is,
Yeah,
that also tells you that even though they are listed under no schooling, but something is keeping them in there.
Yes.
And that's why the numbers are high.
Well.
They are performing, like they're getting something, and that's why they are staying there. Yeah. If I don't go to school and I'm making money, then I would see no reason of pursuing an education, right? So I'll just be there, oh, well, why do I have to go to school when I'm getting the money already?
And I'm employing those that went to school.
Well, that's what is happening anyway. Yes, so that's what we have right before us in that category. And then, you know, let's look at also the labor force participation by the local government area. I'm thinking that West Coast, as usual, will be leading. But where is West Coast? Well, not in this case. Of course, like we said, we're talking about Banjul previously, the 1% in terms of, the other one that we've seen. But of course, how many people go to Banjul to work? And possibly that could be a reason.
Why we have the shift.
We have the shift. You know,
52%.
Indeed, we have the shift. But the lowest ones here is actually Basse, Kuntaur, then West Coast comes in there, third ranking in terms of descending order. But
labor force participation.
By the local government area.
I think this also highlights the non-decentralization when it comes to employment.
It's the same thing.
How do you participate in labor force? It's by either seeking job. And where do we seek job? Banjul. Yes. You want to get security job, you have to go to Banjul. You want to get toilet cleaning, you have to go to Banjul. That is very bad.
Well,
and that is why you have this shift here.
Our big hospital is in Banjul. Thousands and thousands of individuals in the health area. The banks are in Banjul. The central bank, the ports are in Banjul.
The central government,
the GRA is in Banjul. The GRA is in Banjul, and that is why, the labor force.
Virtually all ministries are in Banjul. So it means if you capture those that are actually having participation in terms of labor force. By local government area, Banjul would come. But in terms of actually the previous number, Banjul was just 1%.
1%. And the turnaround for Brikama could be because of how big West Coast is. So if you take the urban part of West Coast and then look at the other part, the rural part of West Coast, it's so huge. Fonyi alone is just so big. Both right, left, and even going forward.
To
Kalaji is huge. So if you take that is why by percentage they are 43%, but maybe just by numbers, the West Coast could still be bigger because of the area that they have. You can imagine Brikama, you go to Gunjur and all the areas. But
now you've talked about, because we're talking about Vantage Wealth.
Vantage Wealth.
Wealth creation doesn't have to be government alone.
Definitely not.
And that is why I said, how many of us can get job with GRA, Gambia Post? Not many of us.
Selected few?
Yeah, selected few, that's the truth. Because the system is such that you cannot employ everybody. Yeah. So what is wrong with West Coast coming up? Let's say individual communities, clusters of communities coming up with initiatives that would help create more wealth. For example, all the money that we work in Fonyi, in terms of our rice, our banana, or whatever, it all comes back to Banjul.
Indeed, it comes back to the urban area.
The circulation rate in Fonyi is very, very low. Because you have to buy rice, and this rice is coming from Banjul. You have to buy oil. You see what I'm talking about?
I know.
So what is wrong with us creating a situation where we can take advantage to create Vantage Wealth, let's say in Fonyi. If we now say, okay, in Fonyi, let's see how we now have a store, central store for rice.
Yeah.
This rice would be Fonyi rice. We may not be able to produce rice just today, but we can have a situation where we will get the wholesale, take it to Fonyi, and then we will sell it on retail. To encourage that wealth to circulate within the Fonyi. So at least we will have empty bag of rice that we can use for our whatever, decoration and so on. But we will also have the $5 or the $25 that is going to remain in Fonyi.
Indeed.
Because already we are elbowed out because of the system. You want to do everything, you want to buy, it comes to Banjul. You have to come to Banjul. So, but maybe if people, I'm using Fonyi as an example. But Banjul could use that. Another place could
Kerawan and all the places.
Yes, maybe that will help, create, a better time frame of circulation of the money.
Yes.
Because what happens is if you are paid, let's say at the circle, let's say you got your granite sold, the money does not stay with you for, let's say, even a month.
Yeah.
You bring it back to Banjul.
To come and buy all the other stuff.
That is it. But let's assume we have a system where villages, VDCs, and other people think along these lines and say, okay, you know what? we want to make sure our people don't suffer with regard to transport and so on. We will now try to secure wholesale. And come and retain it here, so that that money will remain.
That's a great point, but like we are also looking at the setting of the country. You know, let's say you have a lot of Fonyikas who are here, and if people are based in this part of the country, you look at, if you produce the mangoes and all these things, and if you don't have the market in Fonyi, selling them will be difficult. But like you said, the government can come in, people can come in to help. If there are investments, storage facilities and all that, where I know, even if I have my groceries grown from a garden in Somita or in Kanongo or anywhere, I know that yes, we can keep this for long. I will be able to keep this for some time. Because the reason storage facilities will contribute a lot. Because if you see that if you do the harvesting period, those little groceries, you can't keep them in Fonyi for so long. If you do it, you might not have it all. But if you have storage facilities, now people know that instead of people coming from maybe between Biam and Bajagar going to Combo, they could stop at Somita where there's a big storage facility. They say, oh, I can get my onions, I can get, you know, my bitter tomatoes and all the things from here, then they will not get to Combo. So it will take investment, it will take strategic implementation and planning, but like you said, yes, it's doable and people can come together to see what can be done in that area.
And that is why, as far as wealth creation is concerned and management, you have 5 pillars. First, you have to have what we call a plan.
Yes.
You invest, grow, protect, and distribute.
Protection is our issue.
Yeah. So this is the issue. Let's get back to the numbers.
The numbers, yeah. Back to the numbers. This is what you were asking about, employment characteristics. Studies in employment. Look at it. We are not giving a number here, but if you do our auditions, we can get it. Employees are just 35%. This is something else, right? If the people employing are so low, then the ones that they are employing is also another issue, right? The people who are what we call self-employers, own account owners, makes up 53%. Whilst you will comment on that, let me take you back to what you were talking about. The vast majority of the employed population has one job. Multiple job holders account for 5%. So, in other countries, I mean, I've lived in, I've visited all the 6 continents, thanks be to God. I've worked in most of the major cities, in London, in DC, in New York, and other areas. Even myself as a student, I have more than one job. So if we are 5% of people relying on only one job, sometimes the side hustle, you know, you can talk about it. Sometimes the side hustle doesn't really have to be another formal job. This is something that you can personally create. When I go to work 8 to 4, when I come back, go home, have my lunch, between, you know, those short hours and so on, what else do you do? That also matters. That can be your side hustle. And people who have degrees and you know, they are doing part-time lecturing at private institutions and so on. But, you know, unfortunately, it's only a very low percentage or a very low numbers in Gambia that are actually involved in that. And that tells you how much you earn sometimes if you are not involved in any dubious practices or activities.
And this is very, very important for us to delve into. You see, having multiple streams of income. Is really, really important in terms of growing wealth, you know, creating wealth. You see, if we look at it critically, one job gives you one source of income, let's say. But the quality of the income, if you're having $3,500, $6,000, what can you do with that?
You
That's
buy
the truth.
cigarette and it's finished. Yeah.
So that is why people in this country, most people would die poor. Most people would die poor. One, the one source of income mentality is a very bad mentality. 2, the quality of the income itself is very low. You can barely make anything out of that. Yes. So this is something that is really alarming. If you have only 5% that actually may have multiple jobs. Only 5%. 5%. Yes. So there's, in every 100, you're talking about 5 people.
5 people, yes.
That's serious.
That's really serious.
And even with that, not only the quality of the income, but the quality of the social protection, especially in the formal sector. Like the social security, you know, the pensions and all those things that your contributions,
even insurances, health insurances.
They are not quality.
There are not of. I don't know how. I mean, people have been complaining about Social Security a lot. There is a portion in the summary when we get there that talks about all, when we get to the formal and informal sectors of the economy, that talks about the social protection and increasing those rates, but not just increasing them in theory and in laws, but making so they are in effect, they are in actual, proportion.
And he says that the proportion of employers remains low.
Yeah, maybe it is actually taking a downward trend.
Yes, but one of the reasons is you want to do some employment or job creation, you set up a company, is difficult.
You're an employer, maybe you can tell
yes,
us something.
It's difficult because, the situation is this. You see, I tell people, one of the reasons why the Senegalese diaspora has a lot of good that they're doing back home and even where they are, it's easy for them to set up.
Yeah, indeed.
It doesn't matter whether you're here or not. But here, most times there are a lot of hurdles, political, social, and a lot of things. And I think that is why this is alarming. If the number of people that should create employment are low, then it correlationally means the number of people that would get job will also be low.
Indeed,
and correlational as well, the economy also will not be performing the way you want it to perform. Yeah. So I think government should begin to look at things from another way around to make sure to set up a company, ease of doing business and so on is very, very easy. You don't have to whatever. Yes, I think that is important. And programs like this should also be encouraged so that people in the diaspora, Gambians probably who are out of touch, will begin to know how to go around setting up their things and stuff like that. But the other thing remains, and that is what? The protection. Safeguarding these investments, these businesses. It's very, very important.
Yeah, see the security aspect of it.
And that is why I tell people, I think if somebody breaks into a shop,
yes,
they should not charge him for only burglary, theft, and so on, but economic crime.
Economic crime, of course.
Yes, I think. I think there has to be a shift in the way we look at things, and maybe that will help us. Yes, numbers again.
Numbers again. Look at we have you were talking about employers' own account workers goes up to 50%, but the page thereof says that sector of economic activity. Look at this. Agriculture. I don't know how much you remember the budget for agriculture. Agriculture contributes hugely. I mean, a lot of people. Yeah, 21% is a big number. No. But the service sector is predominant with three main branches: wholesale and retail trade and the repair motor vehicles. That's like 26% of that. Accommodation and food service activities and transportation and storage. So when you look at this whole pie chart here, they look at sector of economic activity, most people, wholesale and retail, and then plus the services that they do, the repair stuff that I was telling you about, you go, there are thousands of mechanic garages on the way, and so many other activities. Agriculture industry, they pretty much the same cake, the same size of the cake. Industries, the hotel industries and others, and then we have agriculture, very important in subsistence farming and so much. So there you go, and that's what that gives us our sector of the economy.
The 58% is service, 21 industry, and then agriculture 21%. Yet we don't give much to agriculture. And again, this is not what I like, huh? Wholesale and retail. We are not talking about anything like export. I'm not saying something like export here. Do you have anything like export?
No, I don't see export here. We have, there was a graph with the GBOS that tells about the, I don't know, is it recycle or something? Pretty much, are we even exporting?
Re-export, you mean? Re-export.
The re-export part.
Yes. Re-export is not bad, yes, but we want to be exporting. That's what creates wealth. That's what creates the economy that we want.
Actually, that gives you a voice as well. You can dictate how much your money is worth when you are exporting.
Absolutely.
But if we are not exporting,
if we are into this wholesale and retail, we are bringing and then reselling at a wholesale value or a retail value, then we don't have economy.
People actually bring in rice and so on and change their names. You've heard of those scenarios happening.
Yes.
So that whole comes into the retail trade. I don't know how much that is monitored. You've said something about the numbers when you say these kind of programs are important. I wanted to quickly reflect on that. That is, GBOS produces this. I don't know if they have programs where they go and inform the citizen. We collected this data from you. We collected this information about you, And now this is what we found, so that they can tell us about it. For me, it is not enough looking at the literacy population in the Gambia to just put things online and leave them there. Okay, you know, you have the World Bank that assign you, or maybe those are your donors, you get grants from even the government and so on. But I think they can also appear at the TV once in a while. I don't know if they do. I don't see it.
We are creating Vantage.
Yes. So to talk to us about the economy, tell us about the agricultural activities, and at least the findings, the key findings from your surveys. That will go a long way in informing
shaping the mind of the people.
Indeed, in all languages. They can say it in English, they can say it in Mandinka, in Fulai, in Jola, in all of every other language, to at least abreast the population, and people can be aware of what is happening in their own backyard.
As far as the economy, investment, trade, and business is concerned, and that's a very good point. We will endeavor to get some of them around from time to time. On Vantage.
Hopefully you can get more people coming here to tell you what they think and what they know as far as reality is concerned.
Jobs quality.
Well, jobs quality, there you go. So the
job quality remain an issue. More than 6 out of 10 employed work in informal employment.
And that is why the informal employment is 63%. That is huge, right? The informal sectors make. How do you see a country growing? I mean, this is both a rhetorical question as much as you can answer. If we have a larger chunk of our economic activities, or the sectors, employment by type is informal. A larger chunk of it is informal. And the formal is 33, of course, household making 4%.
Just half of that.
Almost half of that. I wonder where our economy is heading to, but also how does the Gambia intend or sees itself going beyond and catching up with other countries if we are producing numbers like this?
There is absolutely very low percentage in terms of potential for the economy, if this is the case. Because but we need to make this clear. Why we think the informal sector at this rate is not a good thing for the economy. You see, the formal sector is the sector that is regulated, the sector that has social protections. Now, in fact, WHO and International Labour Organization made a research, and they said people that die from heart attacks and these other problems or diseases and so on usually are more from the informal sector, because they hardly stop work to go to the clinic or whatever to do, or they don't even have the opportunity of an insurance.
I mean, no,
health
actually no holidays. They
work long hours. They work long hours.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So you realize that what that does to an economy is the people that should live for 70 years and still pumping their energy into the economy will die.
Yeah, we lose the human resources.
Yeah, we lose it. And it's like you're losing workers and potentially employers. Again, if government is supposed to have tax from these people, the level of tax they should have, they cannot have it.
They can't have it.
You understand? So the pension and so on. So this is why we are saying this number need to be looked into, and then we see how we go around changing it to make sure the formal sector is at least more.
Yeah. If it was the reverse, the country would have been benefited more.
Yes,
GDP
absolutely.
And so many other
not only the country, in fact, those that are participating in the labor force.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, if you have served for 20 years running your own business, but you have not, let's say, you don't have a plan of retirement and stuff like that. So when you retire, it's like you cannot tap from your pension, you cannot tap from this, from that. So it's like it takes you back to maybe poverty, because now the energy is not there for you to be going long hours and stuff like that. But let's say if you are in the formal sector and our social security has been useful, for now they are not very useful. If they have been useful, then you realize that you can get back and reap the benefits of your long hours.
Indeed.
But with informal, that is absent.
I mean, without regulation, because with regulation, you can say people will even be more encouraged. Well, if you regulate, then we are shifting these numbers to the formality.
Yes.
And then it's
but then not only regulating, but making it so easy. Because if you want people to be formal, there should be ease of registration of business, and when it comes to tax, it should be easier with them, and and stuff like that. Unfortunately, some people are even dodging the formal sector or to formalize their businesses because of some of these issues.
Yeah, there are so many hiccups to it. Let's take a look quickly at what you have there. They are saying that women are overrepresented in low-quality jobs. I think I don't agree with the statement how it is put. That's not a nice way of putting it. When we say overrepresented, I mean, you know, it's like overrepresented is like more of if we have to talking about the good side of it, right? So you are saying that they are overrepresented in low-quality jobs. Yeah, they make up the numbers in that sector, which is unfortunate and sad to say the least.
But how many high-quality jobs do we have?
Very little.
Actually, I think we will have Gibos one day on this show to discuss this. But numbers, for me, yeah. I think maybe 5% of jobs in the Gambia are high quality. I don't think 7,000, 8,000 job is a high quality job.
Well, they have to first define what they mean by quality and high quality and low quality jobs, and then we can take it from there, because you never know what you mean and what they mean by low quality and high quality jobs. And then the last part of it for this labor market situation in the Gambia in 2023 is the labor underutilization that comes in the unemployment and the potential labor force. So this covers both the unemployment and the potential labor force area, and you can look at that's where you go, the labor underutilization. We're talking about the unemployment and the potential labor force. There are astonishing numbers here. There are actual, sometimes, you know, unfortunate numbers written here. And it says here that labor underutilization is more prevalent among female than male, and in rural areas, you know, 37% compared to the urban areas, 38%.
28%.
Yes, it looks like we have our women, you know, here too. They make up the numbers, but that could also be due to the population that they have compared to that of men.
Do you think we have more female in the Gambia than men?
Yeah, I'm saying, because if then now by virtue
of those that can actually work, you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm saying by virtue of their population size bigger than us, now you are having, you know, you understand what I mean. So maybe because of that, then they are also more prevalent in these numbers than men are. Yes. Not another reason or so. And you can look at the LGA representation as well. Kuntaur, they're in the rural areas.
49% is the highest.
49%, yes, for the labor underutilization. Banjul 21 years, because everyone goes to work in Banjul almost, and not just that. You have so many shops. Almost, I would say, everyone in Banjul is doing one or two economic activities, so they will not be affected by these numbers. Brikama, Kanifing, yeah, KMC is predominantly, you know, if you look at the settings, Brikama is the West Coast region, but Kanifing will emerge victors if you compare the two. Kerwan 29, okay. I don't remember going to Kerwan, so I don't know which areas are in Kerwan. I might have or not, but I'm not really familiar with their geography. But you know,
I don't know Kerwan.
I don't know much about Kerwan.
Yes.
Mansa Congo 31, not so good, but at least, you know, they're better than Kuntaur.
So the Banjul is the lowest.
Banjul, indeed,
the utilization, and that is because whatever you want to do in this country that matters, you must go to Banjul.
Yes. So I wrote a summary here that says that 32%.
Let's look at the summary, because they've indicated the time is almost done.
Yes. Like I told you initially, this whole GBOS survey is actually a topic of its own. You can talk about this hours and hours.
And let's look at the recommendations.
The recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. The key challenges or the policy implications. Okay. Well, we can go quickly through the key challenges here. This is going to be on page 3, I believe. You can look at the key challenges, and what it tells you is that there is informality dominance. We talk about the informal sectors; they are the dominant. You know, we also talk about the gender inequality. Women face significant barriers in accessing formal employment without most engaging, and with most engaged actually in low quality informal jobs. We were talking about that. That could be by virtue of their numbers. You never know, but you know, at least we've seen some statistics about it. The youth unemployment as well. Young people, 15 to 35 years, account for 74% of the underutilized population, reflecting challenges in transitioning from the education to work.
It means this is the most significant,
indeed,
and the most lethal or potent of energy that we need in our economy.
We need in our
Unfortunately, it is underutilized.
Underutilized, yeah. People actually from the university, from other tertiary institutions will struggle for jobs. And so most of them have to go do non-intern payments and all that. Look at the regional disparities. It tells you that rural areas like Basi and Kuntaur, we're talking about it, have limited employment opportunities rather, and higher underutilization rates compared to the urban areas. So I came up with this point, the policy implications or suggestions. Number one, we're talking about the formalization. Formalization of the economy will definitely take us a long way in balancing the informal and formal sectors, the gender equality as well. Targeted interventions are required to increase women's participation in the formal employment and leadership roles. I know there are a lot of activist areas that are working in this area, but of course we need to be reminded over and over, and so that people can take it more seriously. Youth employment as well. Programs to enhance skills training, vocational education. The vocational education, I think at some point was 1%, needs to be really encouraged, and then job creation for young people as well. Regional development, investment in rural areas. We are talking about that. Decentralizing, the development projects and so on will help to create employment opportunities and reduce reliance on subsistence farming. That is going to be really essential. So, well, in the interest of time, we I'll touch a few points here on the national entrepreneurship policy. Of course, we got this from the Ministry of Trade and Industries, and the important thing about this point is that it is important to also reflect a little bit behind. That's why you have the 2014 data, but as we go on, we will definitely go on to cover the most recent data that we have from the World Bank and on other parts. This micro small is the MSME, micro small and medium enterprises, and MNIC is actually a consulting firm in Carnegie. Well, that's what my site tells me. They were involved in this survey. It says that the micro, small and medium enterprises, they contribute to an estimate of 20% of the GDP, and that is important. But when you come to employment in this area, the microfinances or the medium enterprises, you could see 60% of our active labor force, 15 to 64, with 70% of these being self-employed. So most people doing these micro jobs and the small jobs here at small stuff, you go there, some of them will tell me, oh no, man, can't be. Like, my Olaf is so bad, man. You just, you're the only person. Okay, like something like that. I'm the only one here. So you go other subs, oh no, this one is a family setting, only one person there. So you could see they are afraid to employ people because they cannot afford it. Yes. So the little that they have is just to take care of themselves, pay their little taxes where they are taxed, and then, where not necessarily they are thinking of increasing the business numbers. Number of that as well in 2014, but I believe in taking percentage, because if you say 88,940 might be a bit misleading, but of course with 70% of them unregistered, can you imagine? So which means most of them are not regulated. If you are not registered, then you are not regulated. Everything you have stays with you, and that is why if we go ahead, we will see that some of the policy recommendations are that the government can help in formalizing these sectors, but they have the registration things as well need to be at least a little bit loosened to help people register their businesses, and then they can be formalized. And
sometimes most of these people, as I told you,
yes,
what is wrong with you just sitting at Mansa Conco and then you are able to register your business using your mobile phone? As simple as that.
Well, they can
but you have to travel all the way down here, and it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is what we really need to look at as a government, as a people, and see what we can do.
Yeah. Let's go quickly to page 6. There is something really important there that I would want us to just look at the key statistics and economic standpoint. Our GDP and economic growth, of course, as of 2022, which is like about 2 years ago, our rate was like 4.3% in 2022. That was the growth rate. That's the growth rate driven by recovery in tourism. Tourism contributed, agriculture, and remittances. Remittances is actually a very huge part of it. The growth rate will come in the previous year. What happened as in, so 2020, it gets much better by, I would say, percentage, we can say 104.3. That means the addition was the 4.3 that was added. That's according to World Bank in 2020 when they did a study.
And you said GDP per capita, that is in 2022, approximately is just $840, making it one of the poorest countries, Gambia.
Yeah, it goes
and
without saying.
the Human Development Index ranked 174 out of 191 countries
in the world. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Yes.
What can we do?
What would be your final message, Touba,
Well,
regarding this? I know we need to have more of these programs.
Yes.
And we cannot complete all
at once. All at once.
But we are grateful and we want to have your last words.
Yes.
We say bye-bye to our audience.
Well, so my last words, Mr. Bojang, would be that I'll just quickly go through it because that's where we have what I call the policy recommendations and suggestions. Obviously, it will flow with my last words as we go. It starts on page 8, actually. So 1 second. So if you look at these policy recommendations, is improve access to finance. You were talking about that, and if we do that, then we are going to do a lot when it comes to the informal sectors by transitioning them to the formal areas and enhance skills training as well. You can take a look at that. If you enhance skill training, that will help in streamlining business registrations, promote foreign district investment as well. That is going to really help. But I think both individuals, people who have money and those who have the technical expertise, and the wealthy people and the educated people definitely need to join hands together. But the government first and foremost. I always say you cannot thrive in this country. You can do it without the government. That is if they don't interfere. Because you've seen many times that individuals want to do some amazing things. When you are following the due process, you reach at a level, then it becomes
deadlock.
It is going to be deadlock because certain politics come into play and other things come into play. So you don't really need a political alignment. You should not need a political, whatever.
Sure whatever that you enter into.
Yeah, enter into moves. No, it should not be that. If you see people, who are in areas that they can contribute to the development of the country, to me, they should be encouraged. I am also, a very big advocate when it comes to seeking skills and education. Sure. If you are working somewhere, you know well that I am not good at this or so, go and seek a part-time skill training. It can be at a vocational training center. It can be a part-time degree seeking, but it must be meant to enhance your skills. It also must be meant to enable you do the job that you are doing better than you were doing yesterday or last month.
And for the future as well.
And for the future as well. And there is so much that I can say, but I will draw the curtains here for myself. And thank you, Mr. Bojang, for having me.
Thank you, viewers. This is all we have for you today on the Vantage Wealth program. Until we come your way next time.